Hi everyone. Alright, welcome to this place. If you're new here, my name is Raaji and this space is called Opal Oracle. Welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. So, full moon eclipse. We will be going through each of the signs and looking a little bit at the astrology. I will put timestamps below so it's a little easier to reference. Depending on what part of your map you want to focus on. So before we jump into that though, let's talk about this a little bit. So October 28th or thereabouts is this full moon. This will be the end of, yes, patience. Much of it was needed. A generous dose of patience over these last 2 years. So that is when these eclipses through Taurus and Scorpio began. So you may want to reference back to November 2021 and just check in where you are now. A very beneficial part of this close of the cycle as we enter into this Libra Aries new eclipse season through these signs, fire and air versus water and earth. You know, water and earth is, if we mix these together, you make mud, right? So wherever we have been patient, wherever we have been enduring some kind of suffering, whether that was, it could have been financial hardship for some of you, it could have had to do with some intimate relationships, huge lessons around that, anything psychological in relation to yourself, especially those of you who have, you are the Pluto and Libra generation. That's been specifically challenging. Even if the physical world has been very good for you and you've been sustaining and things like that, the psychology of it has some way or another emotionally has stirred some things. The nice thing about coming to this point is that the struggle or the resistance, and Libra actually and Aries both talked about this, it reminded me when I was taking notes, is la resistance. Do you remember that? It's like the resistance, or again the stressors, all that has been being worked through over these last 2 years is now being released, and it actually is creating these beautiful new opportunities for growth, for who you are as a person, for different kinds of relationships and people coming into your life professionally as well as personally. So you could think back, they generally happened May and November over the last 2 years, so I don't know if you specifically want to go there. But as we're in Scorpio time, it's stronger, right? It's autumn, it's Scorpio. It's very nocturnal and very soulful. So these shifts are big, and this is called the Hunter's Moon. And this is technically an eclipse. It's a partial lunar eclipse, which is better than a full eclipse, according to the ancients. So it'll be a little softer, but how do I want to say this? Basically, the map is almost in the, all the stars are in the exact same position that they were for the new moon. So that reading that we did about the boat and about the code of honor and fairness and what is appropriate in our relationships, you know, getting rid of, let's say, the shadow part of Scorpio, jealousy, envy, insecurity, control, possession, anger, hatred, any of these, you know, all the darkness associated with sexual trauma also, like, or just like karma with that, you know, it's, these kinds of things are being, I heard, relinquished. If people have taken the steps to make these changes for themselves. There, of course, will be people in the world, this is collective energy, that have not taken these steps for themselves, or they're too afraid to move forward, whether they're afraid of themselves or afraid of what someone else might think, or they're afraid of failure. Whatever that is, remember this time is creating a new opportunity, and we want to feel strong in that. So again, November 2021, November 2022, these were big for me. I'm sure they were big for you. So that's something to think about. Now, as this is the close of this Taurus, we're completing something again in ways of Scorpio fear and Taurus physical world in ways of physical creation, right? We have Venus and Mars here. We could look at some Taurian things like this moon. Something to actually look at is how you were, what your financial standing was, or how your business, how work has been going, things like that. Scorpio rules over other people's money. Taurus is the hard work that takes to get there. Scorpio can also be the debts that we owe. So any kind of like readjustment of finances. We have the card of rationality here. That could be something that could be helpful. Like, for instance, looking over spending habits, right? Again, we're moving into Aries and Libra next. So this is, as we redefine who we are, the relationship with ourselves, and then therefore the relationship with all the other things. Money, for instance, is one of those things, right? And money, as we talked about in the romance reading, is Saturn's exalted in Libra. Like, money is important, right? Like how, and most people don't want to discuss it, right? Some people are very private or secretive with money. And we can't have secrets in our relationships, because if we do, then there is no growth in creating with that, right? And what we want is growth in the creation. Now, the cool thing is this could also, again, the new opportunities that are happening could very well be where, how do I see this? It's like, well, I just saw someone untying a knot and figuring out like different means to use what they have. Now, let's talk about the finances for a second, because that's a part of life. You could look back again to where you were November 2021. How are you doing financially? How are you doing now, right? Like, what's in your savings? How do you save? How many debts have you paid off? You know, if you've been working on clearing out that, that's very helpful. Now, of course, this could be karmic debt with other people. That can happen, especially old sexual relationships, old family dynamics, any of that counts. But it's also the tangible, literal world too, like working on, okay, I don't want to owe anything, right? I want to be like scot-free and starting, because again, this is an opportunity to start afresh. So looking at that could be helpful. In ways of contrasting 2021 until now, if you are basically at the same position and or you are doing better than you were before, then bueno, you're in a really good spot. This could also represent where you haven't gained any extra debts, even if your money is a little bit less. That's a really good position to be in. If for some reason the financial situation is like, okay, I have a lot less now, I have a lot more debt, I have a lot less money. If you're there, then this is definitely a really, really good time to consider and to be very conscious of like a wake-up call in ways of that. This could very well be for some of you in relation to money and your relationships in general. I mean, again, it's trust, right? Like, I just saw someone giving someone else like the code to their bank account, or like having a shared bank account, right? These are things. So again, future goals could be something to consider. And I want you to realize that, again, wherever you have struggled prior, you know, where you were like, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work through this as best as I can. Even if I got to go over it a few times and I can't really figure out the answer to like what, again, the struggles have been over the last 2 years, then I actually see a lot of success coming through that self-awareness. What's the card with that? Excellence. Lovely. Lovely. Because it is an initiative, right? Taurus is very passive. So to take that initiative to be like, well, I'm going to do my best, you know, and also to hold that code of honor, right? Being honest with yourself, being honest with other people, really beneficial. So now, since this is fixed energy, this is 5 degrees in tropical. They say this is 5 degrees Taurus. So if you happen to have any stars at 5 degrees in Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, or Leo, particularly, let's say 5, between 3 and say 7 degrees or so, of any of these signs, then this is going to be pretty strong for you. I'd also say if you were a fixed rising sign, again, Leo, Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, then again, this is going to be shifting some major cornerstones for you. And I actually see that the more that there is trust in our relationships and the more comfortable we are, I keep seeing the word money, so it's kind of like, what is money? We realize that we have a skill. We realize we have an opportunity. That usually has to do with someone else. We put effort in there. We are rewarded for our effort in some kind of way so that we can take what we just gained and then use that for something else. And then we move, and then we keep going with it, right? So it's understanding the ability, again, of creation and of your own efforts. Now, particularly those of you with fixed energy, but this is also a fixed lunar eclipse. So again, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo. If there is anything that you have been committed to, or you have put a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of energy into, I need you to know that it is okay for you to not have, you don't have to continue to stick with that. Okay, for the long haul. You're allowed to change your mind. People are allowed to change their minds. That's very important to acknowledge. For some of you, this could be where you are the fixed energy. Someone else in your life, we just moved through Libra season, is choosing something that doesn't have to do with you, for instance. Being accepting of that is very helpful, because this is basically, this moon is giving an opportunity for those of who have been stuck, again, especially over these last 2 years. It could be, again, an energy, a relationship, a job, whatever it is that's just been, I heard, overly, wherever, again, it's been stuck. This gives an opportunity for people to find a way out. And this could be of who they were. It could be ambition. It could be to what is possible now. Right? Now, I will say that this moon is definitely going to, any previous problems that have been hidden away. Taurus sometimes, to me, can very much hide their feelings, even though the moon is exalted there. Scorpio can have very deep, buried feelings. We all have this in our map. Anything that's been buried will probably be magnified during this time. It could definitely be a very touchy moon, same as the new moon. Again, it's very intriguing to me. I've never seen this over my years of study, where the both eclipses, lunar and solar, are, the stars are in the exact same place, except the only thing that's a little different is where it was in Libra before, in the 7th house of the sun setting, and like being in Libra, being like, okay, I'm done with that. It's like it's an amicable, like, I'm ready to let this go. It's like both sides, right? Now, the only difference of this map is that all that energy that was in the 7th house is now in the 8th house. So again, those who have not wanted to let go, something, right? We have these two fists here. They wanted to fight the karma of it. They wanted to try to push the boat, or again, control something that was against, I guess, the will of God or the will of other people, right? Because we can't control other people. That's slavery. Then, you know, that it's wise to be aware of it. Now, it's because this moon, as the solar eclipse, is about finding resolve for things, right? Let's go back into the finances for a second. Say it's like, okay, I don't have, you know, I owe this much, I have this much. How can you make that a little bit better? You know, how can you adjust a little bit, right? Taurus is very indulgent. Scorpio is very indulgent in different ways, but still indulgent. So it's kind of like having a bit more self-control, right? Libra, for instance, is very practical in that way, right? So it's learning from this. Now, here we're also trying, because what we're trying to do is strike a bit of a balance, right, with something, and to also take the lesson, right? Like, even if you're in a good position, with wherever it is a good position, it's going to get better, okay? And that which you cannot seem, wherever folks cannot seem to strike a balance, or where they cannot resolve them, there is no ability to solve the matter. It keeps, like we talked about before, Saturn was like, no, Pluto, no. Basically, bigger things or that outside of you was like, no, you can, no more. Then it would be like, the lesson would be, it's time to move on, right? Especially with the Sun and Mercury and Mars, and technically the South Node is very close in the Scorpio energy of the 8th house, being like, okay. And maybe a part of it is, maybe an exercise, writing exercise could be good in what lessons have you learned over the last 2 years? In ways of money, in ways of, if you have a marriage, you know, if you're in a relationship, the relationships that you have had, romantic or otherwise, could be business. It's like, what have you learned? What have you learned? That could also help some folks feel more confident in stepping forward. So, now there's actually some really nice aspects on this moon. Moon is sextile Saturn, so there's an opportunity for love and tenderness and harmony and friendships. There's a stability, there's an opportunity to feel stable in where you are. I could also say that this showed me also some pretty creative energy. It could be just creating with love. It could be creating tenderly, again, creating harmony, creating with your friends, you know, even creating new friendships for some of you. I also saw a little bit of home decorating with that. So that may be something that could be helpful in ways of, say that Taurian part we were talking about money. It's like our objects are Taurus. Taurus rules over I possess. So it's like all the you know, like all the physical things that we have, and in the home, maybe it's in the Scorpio time, like letting go of some things, donating, especially on Saturday. Going through your home, say you go over through your home for like, you know, a couple weekends, go through during Scorpio season, go through your home. What do you have? What is it that you could give that someone else could use? You know what I mean? And maybe a part of that in a non-physical way could also be like, part of what people have to give is love and tenderness and harmony. Now, another thing that's happening with this, that's also a bit of moon trine Venus as well. I got my little lines crossed, but they're basically the same to me. So Saturn sextile the moon is also emotional maturity, right? It's an opportunity for emotional maturity and stability in one's personal life, you know, and that may come through actually, you know, again, Scorpio, it's like Taurus is the possession, but Scorpio is the feeling of what it is to connect to all these physical things, and letting go in any way could, again, help the energy just feel lighter. You know, sometimes it's dense in Scorpio time. No offense, Scorpio. I am Plutonic. But like, you know, things are, what do they say? What's L7 say? Like, bricks are heavy. You know, bricks are heavy. And so, wherever, because the moon trine Venus shows a blessing in this time, but I guess it all depends on how a person feels about, well, money, because it's in the second house, how a person feels about, like, the feeling behind how they're being valued, how they value other people, how they value that in this physical world. Again, even as simple as our objects. Do you know what I mean? It does matter. Now, let's talk about a little bit of the tough spots, because there's, with all this in the 8th house, Mercury and Mars, it's important to be optimistic, right? The moon is with Jupiter, although they're not friends, moon and Jupiter. Moon is exalted in Taurus, so it gives it a little bit of emphasis of positivity with Jupiter. Neptune is also emphasized in this chart too. So it's kind of like one's level of optimism is going to either create like more passionate emotion around things, right? More happiness, like, oh my God, I'm so happy for this, or oh my God, I'm so happy to let go of this. Or it's going to, if the optimism isn't there, if there's a lot more fear, if there's a lot more crab claws and people don't want to let go, then this is where, again, the anger or aggression kind of energy may very well be amplified. And I feel like this moon could very much create like some bad impulses. You know, Mars in the 8th house in Scorpio, unless you feel confident, even though that's at home, Mars in Scorpio being a domicile of that, if you, Mars in Scorpio is just like an exaltation. You can't give a child a chainsaw. It takes a while to practice. And with Scorpio, to me, it's a lot of practice in soft confidence. Do you know what I mean? It's like an ability to be like, yeah, I'm going to try. I'm going to participate with that. But there's no sore loser about it. You can't be a sore loser. You know, because that, what that does is, and if any of you, if there's, again, anger in any kind of way, or these could be very, I wrote down regrettable and not suggested. So another thing that's hard and is kind of like emphasizing this, and this depends on how well you're working through Pluto, how well Scorpio works, that Scorpio Taurus axis is working through your map, is the moon is also squaring Pluto, which actually can make a very self-occupied or like a very selfish energy where it's like compulsive behavior. So the very subconscious of a person could be taking over in this moon if there isn't a lot of integrity, right? So emotional, any kind of emotional power struggles with other people, no. Nope. It's either, I heard it's either love or it's not, okay? And so there could be a lot of dark hidden feelings that also come up, and the navigation here is Neptune. So it's like, you know, think about being at the in the sea at nighttime, and maybe that's why we went over that new moon during the day, right? It was like, okay, who's on the boat? And on this moon, if there's anyone on the boat that doesn't have integrity, then it doesn't, like, we need responsibility here. And what are we talking about? Accountability. If whoever is not accountable in ways of themselves and is only creating discord, then the sea will just wash it out. Okay? And I sense for most people this is already, there's something, again, over the last 2 years, love and self-awareness. Over these last 2 years, there's been great lessons here, right? So that's important. Now, I also see it is not selfish to, again, anything you have been committed to. I heard this could be any time in life where you've spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy, wherever it's been, this moon could give a great opportunity. Don't think that it's selfish to focus on your own emotional, soulful well-being. This could be, again, I would assume a lot of people will break up, you know, on this moon if it hasn't already happened. But again, there's things that break, pieces that break off. Didn't we talk about this with that little piece of dynamite and it like blows? Maybe it was on Patreon. It's either gonna like blow out just a little bit of that which is blocking to show you the geode underneath, or it's gonna explode the whole thing. And so if you're coming from a place of love, if you're the one that's like, look, I'm trying to strike a balance, you have to understand that not everybody wants to get along. You know, moderation. And so we have to be mindful of how generous, like where we're putting our generosity. Okay? And using our knowledge to know what is loving or not. Now, we're not talking about, especially in Scorpio time, forgiveness is important. But we have to know that we're not always going to get the answer to why certain things have happened. We're not going to get that sorry. And even if we do, it isn't going to fix the pain that was associated with whatever those situations are, even if it was genuine. Sometimes we just have to accept things as they were, and you can use this moon. I sense this moon could be used very much to release some kind of like physical blockage. Even when I'm saying this, like in my back, it's like a huge knot. It's like underneath one of my wings. You know, it's like things or situations or people, whatever it was, that have caused people to feel like, well, I don't know how to fly, or I'm too afraid to fly now because I fell. You know, things like that. It's like, no, you can remove these blockages and they can be deeply, soulfully shifting too. But I heard you have to believe in you. Right, North Node in Aries. Now, the strongest star in this map is Neptune. Again, same as the last time. I didn't realize this, but I did the point system on it, and it's actually 16 points. So, Neptune in one's chart, the last decan of Pisces, you know, this is about a rebirth energy. You know, it's really could be a whole new, to me it's a tuning, I'm seeing this tuning fork. It's like, it could be a whole new attunement, you know, to, and I see atonement to something, responsibility and wisdom and forgiveness, right? Because that's a big part of what Neptune is also, is forgiving ourselves, forgiving other people, finding the beauty in being separated from X, Y, and Z, from like letting go. Whether it's spiritually or physically, you know, energetically or physically. Oh, another thing to be aware of is any kind of surgery during, like, probably like a week after this moon, it is not suggested. this happens with all moons, but particularly this being an eclipse and through Taurus Scorpio, I wouldn't get a piercing. I would not get a tattoo. I would not have any, like, you know, like major dental surgery or what have you. If you can reschedule, I probably would. I wouldn't worry about, it's just not a good moon for that, especially all this. Plus a full moon, little side note, a full moon, people usually bleed more because we have more water in our body. It's harder to heal when we open up something on a full moon. When we literally try to open something up. This is why it's more of releasing emotionally, so we're lighter and not so dense and not toxic within, right? Clearing energy so that in the future we're prepared. It's almost like fasting before you go on a journey, right? If you don't ever feel good, usually it's best to stop taking in a lot, right? Food, water, other people. You stop taking in, you let your body clear it out, then usually something will work itself out. So I could actually see that this could be, well, it's very healing. It's very healing. Okay. Harmony. I would say this is emotional, though, even if you're in a really good space. Like, there could be some worries that come up about things. So I heard just respect your feelings, you know? Like, allow it to be. Try not to let those define you in that time, right? Yes, we have rationality. That's important. Right, that Neptune is very flowing. Okay, let's jump into each sign now. Wisdom, yeah, we'll take that. So we're going to start with Aries. I want a second, and I'm going to start at 32. And when I say second, I mean like 22. Oh, my body just felt sore and tight. Ready? Hi, Aries. Okay, Aries, for you. Something wants you to pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to your body, your head also. Mars is it's aspecting you difficultly. So during this moon particularly, like, I guess you could have a little bit of a headache. Your body, like we said, like the body was a bit stiff. Maybe your energy isn't quite there, so you may want to just come back in and use this moon for more of a rejuvenation versus an Aries like trying to do. And I heard I would wait at least, you know, as you move through Scorpio time this month, you know, remember that the energy that you're seeking will also start to grow more, right? But it may be one of those things where you're meant to just like put some things in order. Now, speaking of that, this is connecting to your 2nd and your 8th house. So you could look at those in your map. This particularly for you is touching on your, well, what you value. It's looking at your money. You know, maybe for some of you, it's like, how do you value money? Do you know what I mean? You know, especially those of you who are like, say you're very spiritual or whatever the situation is, you know, you're kind of like, I don't like money. Money's evil, or wherever there's a negative around money, I feel like Spirit wants you to connect with that and like maybe respect it in a different way. Now, Mercury and your ruler Mars being conjunct, they're both 9 points. So I feel like there's something again being worked through you particularly, because this is in your first, this is your first house being highlighted too. So this is yourself. This is your vitality, your body. There could definitely be something in your body particularly that's shifting out. For some of you, this could be an old lover, someone who you have loved. It could be your extended family. I see there's like supportive energy. And actually talking to others about, like, I don't know if this is talking to your partner about money, with Scorpio being in the 8th house being highlighted, or just like talking about, maybe it's talking about frustrations. You know, it's okay to get those out. That is not complaining, Aries. It does not make you weak when you don't have the energy for something. Please don't push yourself this month. This is an adjustment time for you. And with, what do I see here? Well, I heard, what do you need money for? What do you need or want money for? And how much? Because I could actually see over the next year to a year and a half, Aries, there's some kind of like there's some kind of awareness, gift. I just heard like a ringing in my ear. It's like, it's this left side. It's this is your side of receiving, right? So you want to make sure that you're open to being receptive. You know, remember also, wherever your body is ever hurts, remember this is an astrological place. Okay? So like your head hurts, that's Aries. You know, like your arms hurt, that's Gemini, right? Like anywhere where it's tight, it's like that is a part of that. And you can look at your map in this way to help you to figure out maybe what the purpose is for that. The purpose is for a situation, right? There's like layers to it. Interesting. Let's move along. 1 second. Let's do 38. Hi, Taurus. All right, Taurus, this full moon for you. So this is looking at your 1st and 7th house. All right, let's put it plain, okay? Let's I heard, don't let anyone talk negatively to you. That includes you. Okay. Now, some Taurian folks, especially if you're sun sign or rising particularly, but overall, Taurus on this moon is going to feel emotional. Now, if you feel confident, if you feel like optimistic about it, you feel blessed in this life, you feel like, wow, I'm so, because you know what, when you feel good, Taurus, then all the things that are difficult, all the things that have to do with, now I'm not talking about continuing to be in any unhealthy relationships with other people and just pretending like it's not happening. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the fact that, like, when you generally are not self-focused, right? You're ruled by Venus. Nope, you feel like your responsibility is to be the most excellent person for other people. You have to realize that you are an equal part of the equation. And if you are, again, happy, then that happiness and the blessing that actually comes to you, Taurus, is great emotional maturity and stability. Now, if you're not feeling good, if you're focusing, if you're still involved with any angry people, just, we got to say it. Because look, 2 years ago, right? Listen, you have a great excellence of empathy, right? You can do that. But you also have to know what's draining, and you have to learn how to let go. Right, Taurus, you are one of the most committed signs of the whole zodiac. Once you start doing something, you are in it. But what you lack is assertiveness, right? There's this real touchy thing that happens that I've noticed with Taurus is it's generally passive. It very rarely becomes aggressive. And that assertive almost feels aggressive to Taurus energy, so it feels insecure sometimes to be like, you know, I heard you're not allowed to talk to me like that. You know, or this is unhealthy. And choose like an independent thing. So this may be a time for you to be conscious of taking up more of a leadership role. Interesting. So you and other people really highlighted. This is a moon though, right? This is a lunar eclipse. This moon sits with you, Taurus. This is your moon. So you are also releasing, some of you may not understand where some of the feeling comes from. And, but there is some kind of great balancing between you and other people. Excuse me. But where it all starts is with you, Taurus. Because then it's like, you know those little, where you pull the metal thing and it goes boop, the ball, and it's like boop, 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 and it just keeps going, right? But you're the one, somebody has to start here, and it's you, Taurus, where you pull it back and then it goes. Versus someone else trying to push you. So I heard, as much as you have empathy for everybody else, why don't you have a little empathy for you? Feel your own feelings. That's what this is for. Don't try to feel other people's feelings. Don't try to rationalize angry or aggressive or hurtful or whatever feelings. Now, some of you could use some of this moon to actually push out some ick in you in relation to where, for instance, you did not, in the past, presently, I don't know, where you did not stand up for yourself, where you let somebody walk all over you, where you let somebody abuse you, where you let somebody steal your energy. You know, you could also alleviate some of that energy from your body. Remember, to me, Taurus, Taurus generally walks pretty heavy. Every Taurus I've ever met walks quite heavy. They don't realize it, but they do, because you carry a lot without realizing it. So it's light. I heard it's lightening the step. You know what I mean? Maybe you want to watch that too. Like, I heard, try to tiptoe. Not out of fear, but to get to know your body a little bit better. Okay. Just a second. What's going on here? Oh. I'm just filling in the map. Hold on. Capricorn. There we go. Okay, Gemini. So this is your 6th and your 12th house, Gemini. So you're spiritual and you're emotional. That's interesting. You are spiritual. You are emotional. You are strong and generous and self-aware. I feel like there's something you need to say, but I don't know if it's like between you and God, like in a quiet, private place, like where there's no other people around. You're not ashamed to say anything. Like you just, I don't know if it's just to feel something or if you need to physically like say it, because this moon's going to be going through your 12th house. But it may be one of those things where you want to just allow yourself to be deeply emotional. Now, what you're releasing is actually something very unconscious. It's very unconscious. Oh, some of you, it's where, because you rule over communication, right? You know how Gemini, like you're two-sided, right? So sometimes like it can be so soft and sometimes it can be so sharp, right? So some way or another, you may realize how to stop battling with yourself, like with your own soul, the duality of yourself. Maybe there's something you've been going back and forth for a while about. You know, I don't know if it's in ways of love or if it's in the ways of romance or if it's in the ways of like power or money or what. Like, both these houses are pretty heavy karma houses. So again, you could be eclipsing something that you've been working through with that 6-12 axis. I don't know if you have stars there already or like there's something about this that wants you to have more faith. I heard 10 points. Optimism. Oh, your dreams could be really strong too. Your dreams may be very much trying to tell you something. This could also be, sometimes the 12th house can also be if you have a partner. In the Navamsha chart, this is, well, it's the house of sleep. So it could be like maybe a partner of you, or if you have a partner, that they could also be contributing to the healing and ordering of some, like, and being of something of service and success. Yes. The other people in your life, entrusting them. I heard entrusting others to know how you really feel. I'm talking about the ones that are on your team, right? Not the ones that want to hurt you. Maybe there's some order. Again, something's being ordered or something's being organized. Interesting. I feel like if you've had any worries about work too, there's a lot more optimism about that. I feel like you're up for the challenge. Like, there's some really good ideas. I feel like this is, once you release, you got to do that thing, the quiet emotional thing, or like, This could also be, as we move through this month, and particularly through the end of the year, maybe even until getting into the beginning of the year, next spring even. Interesting, Gemini. There's some pretty cool planning that's also helpful. Like, this is like starting from the ground up. Like, what's the plan? Or like, what's the idea around it? Right? I heard, how can others help? I heard, how can we help each other in assisting in making this happen? Okay. These are gonna be long. Oh, I forgot to mark that down. That's okay. 50. Let's do 50-50 for Cancer. Give me just a second. All right. Hi, Cancer. All right, Cancer, for you. This is... Hold on. Make sure I do this right. So this is 5 and 11 for you. Your 5th house and your 11th house are being highlighted, Cancer. We have spirituality and mindfulness and self-awareness and education. Maybe it would be helpful if some of you consider taking a class. Maybe it has to do with spirituality for some of you, something to do with mindfulness, self-awareness, education, spirituality. That's very awesome, actually. Huh, good. So, yes, the bigger groups that you're a part of, again, this could be classes, it could be like, again, groups that you're a part of. Maybe some of you have been shy to like be a part of something. Or again, over these last 2 years, that may have been something where like your creativity felt blocked in some kind of way, or something was taking over the energy so that you didn't have time, I heard, to play. And maybe with integrity, you might have needed to do that in some kind of way. But now with this moon, what it's doing is it's releasing you from some kind of fear of maybe in ways of your own excellence. Maybe some of you had to reel back from something to be able to adjust. I don't know if this had to do with your children or with who you date or your own creativity. Interesting. This moon for you, Cancer. Hold on. Give me a second. I can't rush this energy. I kind of want to like hurry it up. So some of you, if you're emotional, some don't want to feel something. Somebody doesn't want to feel something, or they want to hurry up. I heard, get to the good part. Just a second. Okay, 5 and 11 is also like realizing well, if you don't risk, then you don't gain, right? Sometimes it's risking, like, you know, I just saw someone buying like a $2 lottery ticket. You know, like, you never know. You might win $2, you might win $1, right? Maybe you'll win $20. But that's a particular kind of game where it's random and it's not reliable, right? Like, it's really a toss-up, and the probability of winning in that kind of game is it's mostly all up to chance, and it's actually kind of rigged. Do you know what I mean? You're basically setting yourself up to lose when you gamble like that. The more risk energy that we're talking about, that I'm seeing here, is more like risking putting yourself out there in the world. I don't know if some of you, it's where you now, maybe it is being a part of a class. You know, I don't know if some of you are super shy. It might be, or maybe some of you, it's where you've been taking what you've been learning and now you were, the education card, it could be sharing your knowledge in public. I don't know if that's just, again, when you're a part of a group, someone would be like, hey, Cancer, what are your thoughts on this? You know? Or it very well could be something of a different level where some of you are literally, are like, I don't know if you graduated from school and now you're becoming a teacher. Again, you've been practicing something. You've been studying something. And now you're becoming more of like, it's like, I guess it's, again, it's releasing some kind of fear in allowing other people to be near to how you feel and to what you know. Wow. Okay. Some of you are very good at like plant medicine or animal medicine. Look at this card of leadership and contribution. You know, maybe that's a part of it too. Let's talk about it. It's about to be 5555. Most Cancers that I know, as well in a general sense, you are very family oriented. Right? Some way or another, you're going to put a lot of focus towards other people, to that which you feel responsible for. Sometimes it's misguided, right? Sometimes it's not in line with spirit, and then you wonder why there's no harmony. Well, that's an easy equation there. Now, sometimes it's interesting. We just lost our train of thought when that happened. See, so like, hold on a second. Maybe some of you, it's where one of those things where like now your children are grown. You know, now you are free. You know, it's like I heard there is so much opportunity for you to be all that you can be. And what is that? Be all that you can be? Is that the army? And what is that? The army is about people feeling strong independently, and then they all group together. And, well, I guess for some it would be fighting for a cause, but I think for most of you that could also be another projection thing. You want to watch out for that. You could be working towards a good cause, but I feel like getting involved in something that's too socially, like, being too invested in something that is way outside of you, Cancer, remember, is a deflection of your own feelings. This is wanting you to be more creative and confident in your own speech. You know what I mean? In expressing yourself, or again, like overcoming some kind of fear. Maybe in ways of holding an independent position within that, right? Interesting. This is also letting your friends know how you really feel. Letting people know how you feel. Without letting it overwhelm you so much. Optimism. I guess one quick little note to ensure that you keep on the right track, Cancer, too, is like, don't date angry people, okay? Don't date people with addiction problems. Don't try to control your children. You can protect them, but like Rumi says, and this is anything, your creative process, who you're dating, your children, whatever. It's just like, what does Rumi say? Like, your children are not your own. They live in the day of tomorrow. You know, like whatever you're participating with, it's like, you're an equal part of that, but it's all beyond, it's like beyond you anyway. So I heard love you and where you're at. Okay, and what you can do as an individual in ways of being a part of the group. Interesting. Okay. Leo, we'll do, I need 60 seconds. We're going to start at 60 minutes. So that actually would be 1 hour even. Didn't this happen last time? It was like 1:10:10. All right, Leo. I'm actually going to take a second. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So, speaking of back, my back definitely just started hurting, just like Aries. Leo. So, for you, this is your 4th and 10th house are highlighted. Oh, it's so nice. Okay, so I just worked for an hour straight. Doesn't seem like a long time, but like, it was a lot of effort in an hour. And then I took a break. I took a pee. I had something to eat. I went outside and got some fresh air. Kind of observed what was around me. Smoked half a cigarette and then feeling better, right? Like, make sure you're taking care of yourself, Leo. Especially, this is a square time to you. So in ways of you contributing your energy, it's like, you want to be patient with yourself, okay? Like, pace yourself, especially during this month, every year, but just pace yourself, okay? Now, as this moon connects to, again, 2 years ago, if there's been any struggles in ways of how you're feeling about work, I feel like that is being alleviated. I feel like you're going to be feeling better again about work. If you have, wherever your worries are though, like, it's kind of like Taurus said, like, if you feel optimistic, then that's going to expand. If you feel concerned, this moon may also expand it. It depends where you're at, but you generally are very optimistic. So, looking at things from different perspectives, from different sides, you know, like, what is this? What is that? Paying attention to your body also at work could be very helpful. That's what we just did, right? Just really be basic in this time. Because for you particularly, there's some feelings that maybe have been buried down or need to be buried in relation to the last 2 years. For some of you, this could have to do with, where is this for you? Hold on a second. Well, this is the thing. Home is shifting. For some of you, it's, we kind of talked about this in the collective beginning notes, but, you know, it's about to be winter season. We're getting into winter season where I am, so it's kind of with the sun down in your 4th house. It's in the place of home. It could be like, make sure you wash the windows before winter comes so there's lots of light. Or maybe you take out the screens. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you ruled by the sun. When winter comes, you always have less energy, right? So you want to temper yourself always from November until spring, right? November to April, you temper yourself. So could be till March for some of you. But you don't have to temper like your self-expression or your creativity, but maybe that's a thing. Is some of you, it could be where it's just like, where is your creative space in your house? If any of you have an office in your house, because of this access that I see, I feel like things could be a little cluttered there. Maybe you want to clean that up. There could also be, with Mars in the 4th house, it could be where some of you could be moving, or there's something in the home that needs to be shifted, okay? It could just be like talking about what wants to change, or like what is desired in ways of home. How are you feeling about, let's see, what are these two? Yeah, openness and social connection, which is basically like sitting down and having a cup of coffee and like talking about things, you know. Maybe like, who do you have coffee with in the morning, you know? I feel like if you live with anyone also, or again, whatever's going on in the home, it's like you want to make sure you have your own independent space. I also feel like whoever you live with, if it's a really positive relationship, like this could be some, how do I explain this? Well, I keep seeing, I saw just two people sleeping. You know how you sleep like foot to head? Like it's like, it fits. You know, usually it's like, if you're doing it this way, it's like the shoulders are wide, right? So it kind of makes like a diamond, like an upside down diamond or upside down triangle. But when you're like head to foot, it's like it fits to, something fits together. Something fits together. So maybe you're just rearranging something in the home could actually help you also feel better about work. And whatever you're rearranging in these deeper emotional spaces, because remember, this moon also connects to 19 years ago. So 2 years ago, 19 years, 18, 19 years ago. These are like really big, you know, there's a lot of learning in there. So, but particularly over the last 2 years, I feel like there's something in your heart space that's being cleared out. And because I almost feel like if there was any worry about work, it wasn't because you're not good at your job. It's not because you're not successful there. It's because there was something emotional that was needing your attention. Okay? It's like that needed to be addressed. And because that does affect who you live with, and the passion between that, or the creativity between that, or the social struggles, right? It's just like, I just saw somebody again, like shooting the shit, having a cup of coffee, like having a discussion about something, and that being something that helps to perhaps order whatever creating some kind of order in the home also. And again, I see this emotionally, is going to create some kind of purpose. This is also, order is showing me this 10th house. So it could be something where like, maybe you're organizing something with work. Again, I don't know if it's your office or if it's just like your schedule or your tasks in relation to work. It's like, maybe it's making that more comfortable, you know, and finding more purpose also, where it's just like, okay, work is this, but like my main purpose for life is to be happy, is what I see, you know. Interesting. All right, let's leave that like that. Plus, what are you at? Let's do plus 745. Give me a second, Virgo. My back hurts a little bit for you too. So you've been working a lot. All right, Venus is in your sign right now, right? That's beautiful for you. So I want you to feel beautiful. I want you to feel attractive. I want you to feel good in your body. Okay? I heard I want you to feel good about what you're letting go. This is 3 and 9 for you. So this is interesting. Third house is usually ruled by the moon. It's the house of the goddess. You have the sun there for this transit. The 9th house is generally ruled by the sun. It's the house of God. This is now in the moon. So there's something that you're eclipsing in ways of your, how do I see this? You're becoming stronger in your ability. You're becoming stronger in your ability. I heard now it's your turn. It's your turn. And I saw someone playing a game with another person. It was a friendly game. And it was your turn. You got to roll. You got to roll and see where you could go. I just saw the word, what's that word? Oh, it's like in another language. I don't know that. I don't know what that says. Hold on. Virgo. 3 and 9. So we're talking about faith in your ability. Maybe there's something over the last 2 years where some of you have been questioning that. You know, where you're like, well, am I good enough? This could have to do with friends. It could have to do with your siblings. It could have to do with your own communication. It could have to do with any of you run their own business. It's just like, but in general, there must have been something over the last 2 years. It was like, am I good enough? Am I good enough? I almost want to cry. It's like, you know, a lot of questioning. It's like where there was light, it felt dark. And where it was dark, it's like there was light, but that other mirror was making it complicated in some kind of way. But I sense with this eclipse now, there's something that's, again, eclipsing that kind of insecurity out. And maybe some of you actually found out there could have been a thing where I feel like this is more past energy because this moon connects to the other moon. And again, 2 years ago, it's like maybe some of you figured out who your real friends are. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe you're like, oh, wow, you're not my friend. You're actually my enemy. Now, I see this as an actual other people in your life where you'd be like, oh, wow, you know, I thought you were my friend, but, oh, I found out that you're not. Okay, cool. There's your wisdom. You know, I heard don't feel foolish for loving your enemy. Sometimes that's why we have frenemies. Did you know that? Sometimes we owe them karma, right? Sometimes it's just like, okay, here, yeah, I'm meant to be of service to you. I'm going to help you do that. And maybe they even help you do something, but in the end you realize, okay, that wasn't my friend. I heard don't be ashamed again for loving your enemy. But don't expect your enemy to be your friend. And especially for those of you in ways of dating, you know, or in general, like allowing others to treat you badly because you are so forgiving. Okay. I could also see because you're you, this could be a part of this where you are also your own worst enemy sometimes, right? You don't believe, again, you're smart enough or you're handsome enough or you're beautiful enough or you're gracious enough or even allowed to succeed, allowed to shine, you know, allowed to be confident in who you are. And you are. And I suppose wherever it is that you don't feel confident or you have not been feeling confident, again, where it's been a little bit shaky. I just saw a kitty cat. It's like, you know, whoever was wearing, whatever the mask was, like whether this is other people wearing a mask and pretending, or if it was where you felt like, well, I can't really be myself fully. You know, I have to be something else in a kind of way. Or like maybe you felt like, well, I don't know, like for some of you it could be like, well, it's not, I heard it's not spiritually sound for me to be successful in the physical realm. Somebody else talked about this where it was like money. Some of you maybe feel like money isn't spiritual. It is. God created everything. Right? It's a tool. And, you know, and you were born for a reason in this day and age. And however that works, you're allowed to work within it. Yes, that is part of your purpose of being born in this time. And I see that's good. Your self-awareness of your purpose. You know, maybe that's a part of it. Some of you are like, well, it's not fair for me to admit that I'm even good at this. You know, not in a bragging sense. That's never, that, no. But just like feeling okay about that. And I guess with the moon up in the 9th house, Spirit wants you to feel blessed in ways of your ability to communicate, and Spirit wants you to feel confident in your communication, because where you're communicating from is deep in your soul, through your heart out. Or that's also the kind of people you want in your life. I heard if anybody tries to cut you down, then you just know that they are not supposed to be around. Now, if for some reason this is you to yourself, because Virgo to me can be very self-deprecating, then you have to realize that, well, you'll have to figure that one out on your own. Do you know what I mean? I would also say while Venus is transiting for you, I would take care of your body. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's being nicer. Maybe it's saying nice. I feel like it's really helpful. Please watch the language around how you're talking about yourself. I almost want to cry. About yourself and your ability. And, oh my God, I'm going to cry, Virgo. Like, if God believes in you, why would you not believe in you? Wow. Okay. 17. Libra. All right, Libra. Sorry, Virgo actually was just emotional. That's outwardly. Oh, the nodes. Okay, so Libra, for you. This is also, like Aries, is your, this is 2nd and 8th house being highlighted. I feel like you're pretty optimistic about being able to receive right now. I know that's hard for you. That takes a lot of courage for you, right, to be able to receive. And I feel like what you value is becoming stronger. Whatever you have, I saw the word attached, but I think it's more of like an awareness. Like, okay, a person comes to be like, look, this is really valuable to me. My time is really valuable. Your time is so valuable to me. You as a person, you as a friend, you as a partner, you as a client, I as a worker, like whatever. I consider this of great value. And I feel like your ethics, again, are also becoming stronger. It's as if the parts of you that you have built, you know, because 1st house to me is self, right? It's like I am your body, you as a person, is a soul energy. It's a very powerful place. The way I'm seeing the map is this eclipse energy through the light of the sun is in your 2nd house of self. So to me, that's like the 2nd story of you, right? I'm going to build an addition to myself. I'm going to build an addition. I'm going to add to me in my life. I feel like whatever you're adding to it, I heard, is beautiful. But you're also being very particular. Like, you're not like, oh, I'm gonna go get that shitty broken thing on the side of the road that's all rotten and try to fix it. It's like, no, I'm going to wait until I get just the right piece for that room. Do you know what I mean? It's like, now it doesn't mean that you can't work with what you have or you don't have the ability to, because I sense that you very much do. And I heard your contribution matters, but it's where it's like a person's being more selective in what they are allowing into their space, into their home, where they're going to spend their money, right? I'm seeing someone going to like pay less and buying like a cheap pair of shoes, or saving their money and getting a pair of boots that would like last them a decade. You know, it's these kinds of things, right? It's thinking about the long term and how to care. We have love and parenting. It's like, I feel like this is some strong inner child work too. If you've been working on that, it's like some deep, like rooted things where maybe you didn't feel deserving of I don't know. But again, because you're handling something with moderation, it's actually expressing your, ooh, look at this, leadership and success. Leadership and success. This is reminding me of Cancer's reading. So, just a second. I feel like you, like another sign, also released an enemy. Maybe they just told you who they were, right? And I actually feel like if you've had to deal with that, they actually feel quite shameful about that. Or like, who mentioned this? Someone else talked about this. You don't have to feel, how do I explain this? Give me a second, Libra. This reading's getting long. Hold on. Libra. Where's the, okay, this is a moon. All right, we're looking at this different for you. This is a moon. Where's Cancer for you? 10th house. Which actually sextiles the moon. So you're going to be feeling more comfortable about your place in the world after this moon. Maybe for you, maybe it was like Virgo too. It was like there was something for you that was making you feel uncomfortable in ways of your job, in ways of maybe like, I don't know, maybe your passion or your growth in some kind of way. It's not exactly like it was stunted, but it's like maybe there was a resting period, right? We can't always be like climbing the mountain, higher, 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 better, better, better. It's just like, maybe it's one of those things where it's just like, you know what? I heard now it's my time to receive, right? Because you're always giving, but like, this is also, we talked about this a long time ago, but like Libra, really, the people in your life should only be people that you respect and that respect you. And if they don't, I feel like you are very easily, without even having to explain it or like try to fix the thing that's like, again, super broken on the side of the road, all rotten. Like, I feel like you're just like, you know, case, like, I heard it's really this simple. Interesting. Moon in the 8th house could also be very intimate. You could be quite sensitive with your partner if you have one. That could also be something, if any of you are single, it could be where like now you really are strong enough to like, let's see, education and mindfulness. Yeah, it's like maybe there's enough awareness now for some of you where you actually are emotionally ready, so you don't get super triggered by everyone else around you because you figured out a lot of your stuff. You know, for the, at least I see a good chunk of it, so that you're not illusioned by like what is being shown to you. I feel like you have more of an eagle eye about something. Again, it's like you can tell. You don't even have to waste time to like pull over and to check if something is trash. It's just like you're gonna know. I mean, you might slow down a little and like observe, but you'll be like, you can automatically tell like, okay, that's gonna take way too much of my time to drag that home and try to fix that and do all this and that. It's like you're just gonna know. You're just gonna know, and you're gonna be like, you know what? No, I'll wait. I heard again, I'll wait for the good thing. I'll wait growth. Because patience is a virtue, right? Interesting. Cool. All right, let's keep moving along. We still have a lot to do. Scorpio. Let's do, what are we at? Plus 26. I really want a cigarette. Scorpio, happy birthday! Happy birthday! Oh my gosh. What's your favorite birthday that your family gave you? What's your favorite? What's a birthday you remember that had to do with your family? I just saw a piñata. I also saw where someone forgot something. Like someone made a mistake, but then it was funny. Like in the end, it was kind of just like something like, you know how life works out like that sometimes? It'll be like, oh my God, yeah, this happened. And instead of being like all bummed out about the thing that like didn't work, or that something that like should have happened, it's just like, well, it worked out like that. You know, and it basically just gives something to talk about, or it gives something to grow about. Scorpio. So for you, just like Taurus, we have first 7th house axis being highlighted. So you, Scorpio, as an individual and other people, really, really highlighted. Okay? Now, as Moon sits in the 7th house for you in this descending place, in this nighttime, it's actually suiting that the sun would be on the horizon, rising, and the moon setting, right? So actually for you, I heard, whether you believe it or not, that everything is in the right places. Now, some of you have to have a deep conversation with yourself. We have the card of responsibility in relation to, as we're talking about this release of energy, right? And the resistance, any resistance or blockages or what have you that have happened over the last 2 years, I need you to use your wisdom. And I went back to that card of responsibility, like, okay, what was my part in the situation? Right? To me, Virgo and you, like Virgo, Libra, Scorpio is like where integrity lives. Do you know what I mean? In our souls, it's because some of you are actually mad at yourselves, but some people could be projecting that onto other people. And let's see. I see it's best to speak nicely. Right, Mercury's in Scorpio right now. So it's very important the way we tell the story. Right, we talked about that fog. We want to find the beauty in what has happened, whenever it was. Now, as you represent deep in time to me also, this moon again connects to the last 2 years. I know all of us have gone through great things, right? I lost my, Zumi, my best friend, died. You know, I had a death in the family. Otherwise, you know, like everybody's gone through things, right? Big shifts with home, big shifts with friends. There's been a lot that's happened. But those are key points, right? They're like, I just saw someone with like little tacks, like on a map. It's more like, if we took the scales, right? Libra's your neighbor. If you took the scales, like, what is the beauty of all the situations? And this is this, I heard this is the story that we want to tell. Okay? Now, of course, you get to choose how you want to do it. Because you know what? The way I'm seeing the map is this actually makes a very intelligent person right now. There's like a lot of clarity of mind. There's a lot of, which actually, the retelling of the story of how, whatever the situations have been, how they have made you stronger, how they have helped you to connect to these hidden, or like, I heard wretched places inside of yourself. I know, Scorpio energy. It's a hard lesson. I get it. But it's like, there's now light being shed upon you. It reminds me of the Scorpio, whether the gifts that are coming. It's like, it's a whole new opportunity. It's like you could be reborn here, right? Usually Scorpio is nocturnal. The sun is in Scorpio, and I see it in the first house. So it's like, again, the day is rising and the night is setting. So there's really a beautiful illumination, and a lot of you could become much stronger. Actually, it would be really helpful for some of you from, I heard this moon moving forward, to actually work out some kind of like health or like exercise routine where you're actually like making your muscles stronger. Now, of course, some of you, this could just be like cardio, where like maybe you're just working on your heart being stronger. I also see just like muscles, like, because, you know, when we feel better about our body, then we feel better about everything else. Now, I see no one has to be perfect. Everyone has their own, like, basic outline here of who they are. But, you know, when a person feels confident, that's the most attractive thing. You know? Now, as this is a full moon eclipse over through your energy, this is a big deal. That means it's going to take some of you, it's going to take some major courage. This is Leo energy. We're going to be working through heart chakra, right? Deep in the heart chakra and also through the root chakra. So any of you in relation to, with Libra in your 12th house, it's like any old relationships, even that which you would consider your enemy, it's just like, who just talked about that? Was it Libra? It's just like, you know, I heard everything happens for a reason. What is that reason to you? You have loyalty and leadership. So you as an individual, how loyal you are to yourself is the loyalty that you receive from others. How much of a, because a leader, what is a leader? The leader of the ship. You know, actually, for that new moon energy, which this map is pretty much exactly the same. It's like, I actually saw that there were a couple Scorpios that have been a part of this place for a long time. Thank you for being here. And there was a couple Scorpios here that were like, you know, I'm the only one on the boat. And for those of you that feel that way, I want you to know that that's a really good place to be. And that may just be where you're supposed to stay. I've been in that position before, where I was the only one that I trusted to be on the boat. I get it. But that also helped me to become stronger in who that I am, because I didn't have anybody else to rely upon. It wasn't because I didn't want to trust them. It's just I didn't necessarily have those kind of folks because I guess I didn't trust myself fully yet. Do you know what I mean? And the more I came to believe in who I am and where there was light shed into the darkness, it gave me a lot of confidence to even be open enough to invite others into my world. Do you know what I mean? Because actually, those of you who were, because you know what, some of you have a spouse right now, right? Those of you who have a spouse right now, like, that would be a good, the other people in your life, you also want to make sure, let's put it this way, the other people in your life, Scorpio, you have to remember that sometimes you invite people into your life who love drama. And you want to make sure that the other people in your life, how do I see this? I heard, don't be so prideful. Because what happens when people are too proud? Then they don't ask for help. They think they have to do it all alone. And sometimes they take that kind of pride will actually cause an isolation energy. Creates like I just saw like a concrete block around somebody. Because pride is the opposite of humility, right? And sometimes we have to be humbled. You know, maybe for some of you, there could be other folks in your life. I don't know if this is recent or again over the last few years or what, where I don't know if it was you being, someone here was basically finally expressed how they really feel. You know what I mean? And what became not afraid of saying how they felt, and also no longer decided to no longer accept abuse. Yeah. Interesting. There are a lot of people that want to enter your life too, Scorpio. So this is also why I think that prideful energy came up, to be like, please don't block what is trying to be a part of your life. But if there are any folks in your life that are only making you, or it seems like they're wanting you to stew in your bullshit, like they're super negative, you got to watch that. You got to watch that. Because I heard some people just remember, we all have enemies. You know what I mean? And frenemies and whatever. So, and you can also be your own worst one. This could be family. I don't know, whoever it is, but I heard don't project it, because basically what's happening, I heard don't project it and don't try to, something about like perfect it. We have the card of patience. It's like, because Spirit is trying to bless you with an opportunity, but you have to do something different to receive it. And I would say, because this is your energy, forgive yourself. Forgive other people. That's all the other people are, is you. You know what I mean? Okay. Holy tamale. Holy tamale? What's that? What's a tamale? Is that a tamale? All right, Sagittarius. Somebody loves pizza. Hold on. A happy pizza pie. All right, what houses is this in for you? Okay. You also have 6th and 12th house. So your emotional health is very important, Sagittarius. Sag, hold on. Some of you are still, okay, there are some Sagittarius here. Let's just talk about it for a second. Some Sagittarius energy here. This is particular to Sagittarius Sun and Sagittarius Rising specifically, where there is energy here that is showing me that you are still very unconsciously angry at other people, but you've stuffed it down and put a smiley face on top of it. Some of you could have some pretty intense, harsh dreams. You'll know by your dream state what your anger of unchecked anger is. I also heard it's about what you do when you get out of work. Also, like how you deal with stress after the day is done. Interesting. Some of you have had sex with your enemy before, like a hidden enemy. You didn't know they were your enemy. You might even loved your enemy. That's okay. But now you're not with them. That's what I see. This is like this is in the past. So this moon could actually help you to release some root chakra. Releasing could be very helpful in this time. I don't know if you want to do like cord pulling, or if you just want to shed some light into, like, what do they say? Where the sun don't shine. It's like put some light where the sun don't shine. If you've had any sexual trauma, this could also be a beautiful time to release that. But I would say, depending on where you're at in that process, you kind of want to moderate, whether you're working through anger or I actually just saw the word hatred. I don't know if this is coming at you or through you, whether it's come at you or through you, but either way, we're trying to moderate here, right? Maybe a part of it is where some folks have, because somebody here was very angry and they actually feel quite humiliated by that. Do you feel guilty when you're angry? Like in the moment when you're frustrated? What do you do when you become angry, Sag? It's okay, it's an emotion. I'm not saying you're supposed to express it. I'm not seeing that you're supposed to, like, a person's supposed to be like, I'm fucking angry. You know, like, not. But this must have happened. Some way, somehow, there must have been this. Sorry if that scared any of you. But you know what I mean? Like, there's something. I heard you're receiving some sort of opportunity for release. Now, there could be something where some of you don't feel strong enough for something right now. Maybe that's also what you release. Is something where you tell yourself, well, I'm not strong enough, or like, I'm not tall enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not young enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not, wherever it's, I'm not enough. Apparently there needs to be some different language, you know, around. Scorpio talked about this too. It's like, we have the card of assertive and courage, right? Not aggressive. And there's a card of love. You know, I just saw someone be like, oh, I love you so much. You know, like, that might seem a little intense. But, so there's some sort of, because what's being wanted here is the right kind of passion around what you're connecting to. The right kind of people. Oh, this is another thing. Sag, another thing you want to pay attention to, especially if you are, well, let's just put it this way. Something you want to pay attention to is that when you eat, you are quiet and silent. Don't talk when you eat. You'll gain more weight. Your body won't process it. If you're trying to do two things at once like that, one thing in the equation isn't really paying attention. So whatever's trying to be absorbed or whatever's trying to be taken in to use as a tool is kind of like a waste. It's like it goes in one ear and out the other. Interesting. Okay, I feel like we got to move forward because I'm going to run out of steam here pretty soon, and I know that for certain. Capricorn, do you mind if we wait 20 seconds? Hi. Let's see. We there? Now we are. Hi, Capricorn. Oh, your energy just got so mellow. Thank you for holding that grounding energy. Holy. Okay. Capricorn, for you, this is your 5th and 11th house being highlighted. So this shows me some of you have been afraid to create something. Maybe there was a lack of courage over the last 2 years. You know, or because there's a lot of changes that have been happening in you, right? Like really, really big soul-shifting changes. Some of you maybe even physically have changed. Do you know what I mean? Like something like you look yourself in the mirror and you're like, wow, I look different. You know, I feel different. I look different. Like it's all changing, you know? And let's reference last month. The changes now, at least as we worked through these last 2 years, particularly, the changes as of last month, there has been a conscious awareness that the facilitation of change wants to be love, not fear, right? I heard you know where to let go and you know what to come near. Now, as a lot of you are my elders, I would like to mention this just a little bit, just in case we're talking to a lot of people too. Capricorn is very protective, just like Cancer, especially of their children or that which they create, their creations, right? This is one of those things where some of you have to let go of control in relation to your children. It's like having faith in what you created will continue without you having to constantly manage it. Oh my God, we talked about this years ago. It was like, Capricorn, you're allowed a vacation. You're allowed to take a vacation. You're allowed to take time off. You're allowed to step back from something. You're allowed to have what it is that you have put so much time and energy into. Just let it go. See what it does. It's not exactly like let it go and see if it comes back to you exactly, but it's like, okay, if you're the boss and you train the employees, then you can step back and see what it does as an example, right? Because if you did a really good job there, I heard if your efforts were pure and true, then of course the mechanism keeps moving. Even when you go and do what you want to do. And when you come back to it, maybe that's something too. In ways of creativity, I guess creativity could have been blocked for some of you. Where you're like, wait, I feel like I want to do all these things, right? But maybe the harmony just ended up sideways. But maybe it was just like, it didn't have that flow that you wanted. I actually feel like from this eclipse forward, something really opens up. This is also showing me Mars in the 11th house, which is like, to me, that is very much like if there's a goal to be attended to, if there's something that wants to be achieved and created that doesn't just have to do with you, but has to do with like further reaching of what's important to you, you really are taking up a leadership role to be like, yeah, I heard at least somebody's initiating something, right? Somebody is like, this shows me a lot of confidence in you. And actually, you as a leader, you as a creator, we have, awesome. There, now harmony came out right. And I think it's because you're starting to be more harmonious in yourself. Right? Pluto going through your sign is not easy. You know, especially if any of you are looking at this tropically, Pluto, for instance, that's the last 20 years. So, and that actually kind of matches up with this, because this eclipse, this time that we're talking about, this goes back 18, let's say averagely 20 years ago. So, I heard for you to get from here, from there to here, wow, how much have you learned? You know, and thank you for being loyal to yourself. Thank you for not giving up, you know? Even when it was so hard emotionally, like so trying on you, you know, like you didn't understand, you know, certain things at certain times, but like you didn't give up, you know, you didn't give up. And you poured so much of yourself into, like I see someone pouring selflessly into something. And actually, I feel like maybe a part of why some of the creativity of what you were trying to create in the outside world wasn't quite happening, say over the last 2 years, is because something was having you, I feel like Libra talked about this too, something was having you like stew on something, right? It's like you put something on the back burner and it just was cooking real slow. It just needed that. Your spirit needed some kind of solitude, or your spirit needed some kind of rest. Your spirit. Maybe your soul needed some rest. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so wherever you have respected yourself in that way, and also gave others the space that they needed to, I heard, to find their own way, that was a perfect, I heard, leadership ability. Good. So again, whatever this, moving forward from this moon, I feel like there's a lot more confidence in you. I also feel like some of you could be feeling better about dating now. Like maybe if, especially if you've been, you know, when was that? Like 2019? Oh no, when Uranus went into Taurus, a lot of Capricorns, a lot of people got divorced then. You know, there was this big shift physically and like what we're connected to and where we lived. What was it, 2018? Yeah, I think it was 2018. It's like where we were living and who we were dating and like what we loved and hated about ourselves. You know, like what we were afraid of and where we had faith and where we didn't. It's like maybe that's also a time frame for you, Capricorn. And where are you now? Knowledge and self-awareness. Yes. Yes. Good. Good. Just a second. Home is also playing a big role right now. Like where you live, where you reside, Capricorn, that's really, really big. I also feel like you making sure that you're being mindful of your finances, being mindful of Libra's reading. Did we talk about that? Libra's reading will give another layer to the mindfulness around value and around where you're supposed to have your time. I feel like it's a good time for you to save money. Maybe you just want to think about what you know, not that you're not meant to be generous, but you want to respect and be respected for your time and your energy. And again, I guess it's respecting just, what are these ones? Wherever you are being of service also to the community, like where you create more harmony by being well, we have the card of service, harmony, and creativity. So you're creating, wherever you create harmony in yourself, with others, that is of great service to the world. It is so appreciated. I would also say, if any of you, somebody else had this, but like if you were a teacher, maybe it's Cancer. It's like, which is your opposite, it'd be kind of perfect. Yeah, education and growth. Maybe some of you, again, I guess it's a mirror energy, but like you could be taking a class on something that could be very helpful. I just saw like gemology. It's like, actually this could also have to do with plant medicine. But there's some kind of learning here that's like a really big deal. Again, I don't know if some of you like join a class or a place where it like gives classes, or again where your learnings could be very helpful for you, especially in ways of your confidence. And also where a place where like your opinion also matters, like where your energy goes into it. It's like, it just feels, someone's so excited to be a part of something, you know, and it's a part of something that's like a little bit different, but maybe it's also something that's like, I don't know if it's a little bit occult, but like it's not a huge group. This isn't like a 40,000, you know, like, I don't know, like, how do I explain this? It's like a more private group. There's some kind of education or learning in there. It's also a place where maybe people share how they really feel. That could also be helpful. Okay. Let's keep it moving before I run out of steam. All right, Aquarius. Hi, Aquarius. All right. Aquarius, interesting. I didn't realize, but there you are. All right, so there's a river between Pisces and Capricorn. So for you, Aquarius, this is your 4th and 10th house highlighted. So, I feel like for some of you, work could be, there could be a lot of light. Let's back it up a little bit. Over the last 2 years, there could have been something that felt difficult energetically in relation to work. I also feel like there could have been things having to do with home. Like, I don't know if some of you have been considering, like you were feeling it where you're like, all right, something's shifting in me, so something's going to shift in where I am. Do you know what I mean? Like a feeling has been building with you, Aquarius, over the last 2 years. And I feel like there, again, had been times when you might have pushed yourself, and I guess in one sense that showed your leadership, where you're like, look, you know, I don't really feel like doing this, but I know I need to do it. And that loyalty to your responsibility showed your integrity and your love and appreciation for that opportunity, right? Because you didn't quit on something. You didn't be like, this is too hard, or I don't like, it wasn't bratty. Do you know what I mean? But there was something energetically that was a little bit tough these last 2 years. Like, maybe it was trying to find the optimism in something for some of you. Or, how do I explain it? Okay, now that we're here, give me a second. Now that we're here, this must be a different place for you since we're taking a second, right? Let's get a little fresh air. Okay, now that we're here, Aquarius, what are we talking about? Oh, some of you need to open the windows. Like, let some fresh air in the house. Somebody else talked about this, but it's a change of season, right? This is a square time to you too, November. Scorpio time is always a square to you. So you want to open the windows, right? You want to have a conversation with I heard what makes you happy. I suppose as we're starting with you, you wanna know what that is to yourself. And actually see if you live with anybody, they love you like, well, how do I see this? I was gonna say something, but then I knew that it wasn't true for everybody, So let me try to say this in a different way. Okay, family. Oh, I see. Just a minute. Aquarius. Oh, I guess some of you could have retired. Let's work it that way for a second. A lot of you are my elders, right? And thank you for being a part of this place. I feel so honored. And unworthy at times. I guess for Aquarius rising particularly, there's Aquarius, you're strong Aquarius. You are so talented. You have abilities that like other people don't have, Aquarius. It's very important for you to speak empoweredly from and toward your heart. Okay? I know sometimes you don't like your own feelings, right? They're super uncomfortable. You don't understand them, feelings, right? The moon is an adjustment to you. It's very difficult, Aquarius, to understand the moon. It's like, what is that, right? Do you remember that third rock from the sun and they finally cried? That was like the first time those aliens ever cried and they're like, oh, what is this? I'm leaking. It's like, why am I leaking? Something's broken. It's just like, no, you're just a human. You're just a human. Okay. So it's okay. To be vulnerable. It's okay. And I see, and you want to respect your feelings. And even if they are uncomfortable. Okay, at times, whenever this has been, you know, I heard maybe for some of you, you weren't allowed to feel. I don't know, maybe when you were little. You know, And so maybe for some of you, there was something ingrained here that like, where the order of like how things were supposed to happen. Nice. It's an awesome old man with a big white beard on a motorcycle. Having a good time. Okay. So, this is interesting. We're going way back here. Let's just talk about it for a second. When you're growing up, I feel like there were a lot of people in the house. But it's like everybody had different feelings about things. And maybe some of you didn't know like when or where, like it didn't make sense. I don't know why we're going way back here, but let's just go back here. It's like there was something, again, it's this Scorpio axis. All right. It's like I'm seeing a lot of people in a house. It's like everyone's emotions are different and like a little bit scattered. And like you could never tell how someone was going to feel about something. It's like it could feel really soft. And then all of a sudden it's just like the feeling would just shift so fast. And it's like you had to like be put on, like maybe someone always felt on guard, or maybe someone always felt like they needed to protect someone in the house, you know? Or like maybe they always felt like they had to protect themselves. And that's maybe why I became so emotionally guarded, because you're like, well, I don't want to absorb all this because I don't even know what this is or where it's coming from. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm just a kid. Okay. So some of the receptivity and ways of vulnerability, the openness, maybe that was closed off for some of you, maybe for a long time. You know, and maybe that ended up working out through your relationships too. Somebody here, it's just like they didn't know what to do. Now, it could have been where like family was actually totally fine and everything was like whatever, but inside of a person, that's what happened. It's like it was too erratic. Now, so I heard that which has hurt you, like Scorpio said, I want you to forgive them and to forgive you. Okay? Your boss that was a dick. The way you, like, whatever it was about your mom or whatever it was about your dad, that's a highlight for here, for you, Aquarius. Somebody's like, I don't know. I heard maybe someone was ungrateful. Where are we going? I bet we just got into moon hour, probably. All right, Aquarius. Aquarius, this is a beautiful time for you to forgive. Those of you where you have forgiven, where you've allowed yourself to be like, you know, I'm going to acknowledge how I feel, even if that doesn't make sense to me, so that I can move through whatever this is. And I heard, and stop headbanging this wall incessantly. Respect and knowledge, right? I guess we can't respect other people's, the way other people feel, or even ourselves, if we don't acknowledge how we feel, right? Because life doesn't suck because someone else didn't do something, or because someone did something. It's so, again, all right, where there has been forgiveness, what happens is, and again, respect in that situation, whatever it was. I mean, again, we went all the way back to childhood, or all the way back to when you were small, right? And then we went all the way to retirement. So it's this big, huge timeline that we're talking about. This is like the full scope of life, Aquarius. So maybe you just want to respect what you have. I heard respect yourself and what you have learned and where you have put responsibility, like where you have put forth responsibility and been responsible. As I see, especially in ways of respecting how, like, either how other people feel and how other people feel and how you feel. Interesting. Huh. Particularly on this moon, if you work for somebody else, your boss could be a jerk, or other people that you work with could just be like, say things kind of sharp, or say things that like, whatever. I guess don't take it personal. Remember again to speak positively about your ability. And interesting energy. Hold on. Oh, you're meant to focus on who you are as a friend. Right now, Aquarius. Who you are as a friend. Oh, this reminds me. Last month, Aquarius, we talked about stability. We talked about stability. And how sometimes it's like, okay, you have this stability, but you want this difference, right? So remember, don't, especially in this eclipse time, I heard don't rock the boat. You don't need to rock the boat. Rocking the boat won't help. It'll just, what are they, I just saw a person, whoever's trying to rock the boat just gets knocked off. So if it's you, don't do that. If it's someone else rocking the boat, don't worry about you sinking. Just, I heard, just, maybe this is being okay with the feeling of it. Be like, okay, well, all right, they're trying to rock the boat. All right. And then they're over the boat, and then it finally stops rocking and you're fine. I heard rock-a-bye, baby. Interesting. All right, we gotta move out of this energy. It's too long. Okay. I love you, Aquarius. I hope that was helpful. What are we at? Holy moly. Hi, Pisces. Can we start at plus 113? I need a second. Oh my God. My lower back is so sore. Okay. Pisces. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. Last but not least. What houses is this for you? 3 and 9. Right? Yep, 3 and 9. So I heard everything is in a line. So take it easy as you go along, right? I tend to find Pisces actually really likes Scorpio time. It's a fellow water energy. Right, Scorpio is the desert, you are the sea. So it's kind of like, think about the beach and then the water, right? It's just like, okay, high tide, it's like, oh, I'm going to touch all of this, and then, oh, low tide, and I'm going to give some space, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to go out. So just remember that this is that. We don't want to, there's no tsunamiing anything, right? It's, I would say also with Mercury and Scorpio, you may be tempering, becoming more conscious of being emotional in your speech. Not that you're not getting excited sometimes, but you know when you kind of like get out of your body. I do this sometimes when I'm reading. It's like it's as if my body isn't there. It's like I'm just connecting in the air, right? And But I feel like there's this consciousness when it starts to float, you like bring it back in. And you're like, okay, I'm right here. I can touch the bottom. I can touch the bottom. So I heard a buzzing in my right ear. Somebody had the left ear before. Someone's remembering an old story differently. Good. So Spirit wants you to be brave. Just a second. Someone's trying to figure out if they can do something. Maybe some of you don't feel ready for something, okay, let's talk about the last 2 years for a second. There might have been something that felt like, I don't know if maybe some of you have been a little shy, or you've been a little bit, not exactly isolating, but like in your own space. Do you know what I mean? Maybe some of you were spending more time learning about like who you are in a very solo sense. I feel like a lot of you could have been living alone also. Like spending more time with God, you know, or like spending more time, again, it's I keep seeing the word in isolation. But it's more this quietude. I mean, I guess if you have been isolating or you have been very solo over these last 2 years, let's see. Well, then I guess you're supposed to be a little bit more, you're going to be gaining more ambition in ways of love a bit. You know, maybe your ambition for something like that, that bubbly energy wasn't quite there. Again, maybe you, oh, because there's always this split story with you, right? Like this part of you, this side of you believes this side of you believes that. Maybe even sometimes you believe this and what you connect to believes that, right? Kind of the opposite. Now, it's not like it can't, I see how do I explain this? I keep seeing where like these two things where someone's like finally came to a point of like, again, hands open. It's like, well, it's almost like Pluto, like, okay, here I am. And then I see someone like in, again, their quietude, like finding their center. Maybe it's even believing and respecting who you are. Maybe some of you are also shy about your skill set in some kind of way. You know, like, because you're so, I see such a creative person here. But they're like, should I? How do I? And it's like, it's, I guess there was a lot of forgiveness being worked through. Forgiving yourself, forgiving other people, maybe even trying to figure out, like, you know, for the hardship, for the, I heard the mask of the world, like for the suffering of the world, like I get it. Sometimes it's easier to hide than to participate with the world, because when you're a sensitive being, it can be too much, right? You're like, well, if I'm alone, then I'm gonna not have to be hurt so much, you know? But then, didn't we talk about this? Like, alonderful. Right? It gets to that point. Then the ambition kind of shifts. Because the love shifts. Like, the love energy becomes less complicated. And then it's like someone finds their path. And then they start walking forward. Now, I would say for some of you, some Pisces energy here, there's still some big forgiveness in ways of where you've been stung. I don't know if it's what somebody said or what somebody did. It could be your family. It could be whatever. It doesn't matter. Be a boss. It doesn't matter who or what it was. I heard it's where you are now. And how you feel about that. Now, again, I feel like if you've been moderating yourself, if you've been like, again, I'm going to isolate, I'm going to be on it, because I feel like Pisces has been hermiting, right? You were also on top of the mountain, like, okay, I'm going to just be over here. I'm going to, and again, wherever this was I heard in honor of the code of learning. Then, and you were moderating also your passion, right? Because you have so much passion, Pisces, but like celibacy, any kind of sobriety, any kind of, again, where you were like fine tuning. It's like, I feel like whatever was, something's going to open up. That's the point. And actually, some of you could be very much preparing for very success, because of the self-awareness, that being the force of ambition, or like the driving force would be like, man, I want to get to know myself so that I can give wholeheartedly. You know? I actually could see that there could be a very successful, long-term, responsible, mindful, spiritual kinds of relationships that you will be connecting to. And actually, for some of you, this could very well be, wait a second. Yeah. Some of you could actually find, like, I heard, be optimistic about love. Pisces. Be optimistic about love. Because actually with K2 moving through Libra, especially this showing me through your 8th house, this could very well be like not like a difficult karma relationship, but where, like, say hard karma. This is like karma, good karma, where you both respect one another. Where it's where the relationship is fair. Where it is balanced, where it is rational, it has some order to it. And it is excellent, not only in creating ambition for you, but for you to them. What is that? Inspiration, right? It's civil in ways of giving and receiving, instead of, again, some kind of like weird karma, like, oh great, there's another difficult relationship. It's like, no, I heard you don't have to deal with that kind of diversity anymore, or like adversity, because you're not so split anymore. That's the thing. I feel like there was this, like, I'm seeing a person with two faces. Meaning maybe someone didn't know who they were. Or maybe they felt like they had to be something to be, like, to be something to be with someone. Or like to be something to connect. And it's like a person's learning to, like, they like reordered. It's like they put things in order. I also feel like this moon, moving forward, Pisces, a beautiful thing for you to balance is maybe some of you want to volunteer like that which doesn't have things. You know, I don't know how you would be some way or another. It's like being of service. Like, I don't know. Even if you are going to be on the mountain, it's just like, because you know what, when we're doing what we love, you know, in moderation, especially moderating independence, right? Too much independence, that won't work as much as codependency won't work, right? Neither one of those cut the cake. So, but really, when you love life, when you are in love with life, then I guess you're going to find other folks that are like on the same page. And I do feel like, okay, those of you again where you're more recent, especially over the last 2 years, your main focus was your responsibility and your own solitude. Like it would be like, okay, I go to work, I come home, I clean the house, I dig and but not just standard like Capricornian kind of thing. There's a part of that, but also where you're like, I want to know why am I sad about that? Or like, how can I be more realistic when I'm in this kind of situation? You know, no glossing over anything. It's like, oh, my wrist just like, oh, it's Aquarius energy. So either way, those of you who have been in the responsibility solitude, it's like, I really feel like there's something in the stars that's like ordering up or like lining up to align you more with your purpose that doesn't just have to do with you, but it has to do with others. Now, I suppose those of you who have not been doing this, where you didn't take that time, we talked about this in the shifting zones, but let's say it again in case you're new. It's like, if you have not taken the Alonderful, gone to the Alonderful festival, then you will have to, and you will gain great wisdom when you're there. Again, those of you who have, it's like, I feel like you're ready enough. With Saturn specifically, it's like you're ready to be able to receive, Pisces, in a way that you have not before, perhaps. Yes. Or not in the way that you have before. I don't know if we just said that. Huh. You're definitely supposed to expand your friend circles. I feel like also any kind of study in astrology, any kind of learning you want to do about you, soul work, like some of you could become a lawyer, like any kind of technical, like really, really highlighted right now. Yes, you could be very, very creative in that. And even if you end up having all the other deep, soulful, meaningful relationships, even this like deep, because there could be like a soul, this is like soulmate energy that I see too. Soulmate romantic energy, but either way, it's like you can't lose you again. You can't. Like, you're never supposed to let go independently of your creativity, right? Who you are as a person. Even when you combined with another. You know, you don't lose yourself. I mean, you can have a deep bond, but you don't lose yourself. Yeah. Because you're not half a person blending with another half a person. Or a whole person trying to blend with a half a person. It's like, it's the people that are connecting, and what I see, Pisces, is where it's Each person is whole. They are full in and of themselves. And you'll know who your friends are because they love who you are. They love who you are. They love what you create. They want it. They're like, yeah, you can do it. It's inspiring, you know, like, and you to them. Do you know what I mean? It'll be very easy to know who's supposed to be in your life or not. And I see, please, especially if you've been isolating, do not, because Spirit, especially from now until May, wants you to be open to the opportunity of, you know, because I guess you've been practicing your sensitivity, right? You've been practicing your wisdom. You've been practicing, especially those of you who have been alone. It's like, okay, you're on the mountain. How does it go? Well, now you take all that which you've been learning, and now you interact with the other folks and see how it works in real life. You know what I mean? How does it work? You being the leader of your ship, now you go to shore and you figure out how that all works together. You know? And also trusting other people to be responsible for themselves. Okay. That's it. All right, thank you so much. Pisces, thank you for being patient. There's no way, I highly doubt, well, let's be optimistic here. That was a very long reading. I hope that was of service. I am tuckered. I think that was like, that's over 2 hours. Okay. I pray this was of service. I thank you so much for being here. Happiest full moon. Thanks for being a part of this life. And I'll talk to you next time.